Okay, and our last question today is from Rick Rice, who had to resubmit his question 2-3 times because it kept getting stuck in the spam filter. So I apologize, Rick. Okay, so your question is actually in 2 parts. Let's see. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the relative importance of employees as an audience for branding/reputation campaigns. That's the first part. Second part is, what would you measure to determine the ROI on that part of the campaign? All right, so let me start with the second part of your question. It's kind of hard to to measure the ROI of a campaign that focuses on reputation. Reputation is a little bit different from business development or sales, but let's kind of push the topic a little bit and go really far with it. This will be extremely difficult to measure. Okay, so I don't want to blow smoke up your skirt, but you might be able to, and if you did, it would be like this. So if you're building a reputation, what you are is basically you're an emerging brand, an emerging company, and you're building a reputation as the go-to company for XYZ. And so what would happen is through social media, let's just start with that, you would start seeing a lot more traffic, a lot more followers, a lot more fans, a lot more shares, a lot more comments, things of that nature. And you would start to acquire net new followers, net new likes or fans, net new subscribers, etc., across all of your platforms. And what that turns into is you want to convert those net new readers, essentially, that potential market, into new transacting customers. And what you'll find is if you're properly building your reputation online and offline as well, those new followers will turn into net new transacting customers. And if you have a way to track that, that is the deltas between net transacting customers today versus tomorrow, or from 1 month to the next, then you'll start seeing a trend. If furthermore you can connect all of those net new transacting customers, that delta, that change, and you can physically connect them to an account online, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., and that's how they came to you, that's how they found you, and basically that's where you converted them from to become a transacting customer, then you have another data point, basically a dot in that little line in that story of the investing in the cost of the campaign, doing the activity of the campaign, and then now you can maybe filter through these channels to see who came from what channels, who came from what activity, and how they became a transacting customer. And at the end of that line, what you would have is the dollar amount of these transactions. So for all of these net new customers that you obtained through these activities, if you can figure out exactly what they spent or what they're spending on a monthly basis, then essentially you'll have all of those data points: net new customers, net number of transaction, and net transaction dollars. So again, like I cautioned at the beginning of my answer, it's easier said than done. If you're a B2B company, and so everyone who is a customer of yours has to create an account, you're going to be able to get a lot more data from them, and you're going to be able to track all this stuff. If you're a B2C company and you're basically dealing with the general public, that's going to be much more difficult. So you're going to have to be a little bit clever about how you arrive at that information. And unfortunately, most CRM or customer relationship management platforms haven't really merged with social yet. So the promise of social CRM is that you'll be able to automate a lot of that information. Right now you can't. In terms of rebuilding your reputation, what it might look like is, let's say your business may be dropped for some time as a result of a drop in brand perception, or at least sentiment towards the brand. And so what you might do is start your campaign, and as the numbers start getting better a little bit, where the sentiment or the perception of the brand increases, then you see a lot of the customers coming back. And those could be net new customers, just like in the case that we were just talking about. They could be returning customers. You might notice, if you're tracking accounts, and if you're able to, that a lot of your customers, or a significant portion of your customers, had stopped doing business with you, or had really slowed down their business with you. They were less transactions, or no transactions, or less yield per transaction. And now, as a result of perception of the brand going up and their sentiment going up, maybe you start seeing that business come back. So that's one way that you could see that. Another thing that you might want to look at is the yield. One thing that you'll find is that when a company has the brand perception is that it's an economy kind of product or an economy brand, then people spend money there, but it's not necessarily going to be on the premium products. They're going to go for the economy or like the bargain bin type products that are kind of low price. They're going to go price point. But if you change your reputation, if you change your brand to a more premium brand, and your customers, or at least a portion of them, start seeing you as a higher quality brand, maybe more of a lifestyle brand, they might switch from the basic product to the premium product. And if you start seeing a shift in that type of transaction, and if it's actually a trend, not just 2 or 3 random people doing it, then it means that maybe you're doing something right. And if that was the purpose of, or at least one of the purposes of your campaign, you'll see that you're getting some traction. And that's really the yield piece is a surefire way to determine whether or not people are becoming more loyal to your brand, and if they're starting to see your brand as something a little bit more upscale and high value than when they first started. So that's basically customer development. So again, from basic to premium, if you start seeing a shift to that, then you'll know that something's going on. You need to dig a little bit deeper. But without having more details, it's kind of hard to go really deep into this. And as far as the relative importance of employees as an audience for branding and reputation campaigns, it really depends on the company. Every company culture is different. So what works at Zappos might work at Microsoft, but it might not work at Apple, right? Or it might not work at Nike. So you never really know. I think that if you can create a culture where the CEO and basically all the managers speak not only to their customers or to their market, quote unquote, but also to their employees and agents as if they're members of the same community. And if they can kind of break down those barriers between us on the inside and them on the outside, right? And the communications aren't just aimed at customers, and it's not just marketing anymore. It's just we're all one big community and we all have a role to play. Then maybe you might start seeing some real fundamental cultural changes that won't really affect the way the business is run. It won't really affect the quality of the products, but it will affect the way that employees and customers communicate. And you might start seeing a much more open line of communications between the inside and the outside, which is always beneficial to a business, if not in the short run, in the long run. In the short run, sometimes you get into some problems because not everybody's really well trained and communications are tricky. But in the long run, if you can ride out the storm, you can turn your company into such a customer-centric company like Zappos that using the employees as an audience, not just as worker bees, will absolutely yield fantastic results. But again, it depends on the culture, it depends on the maturity of the company, it depends on the type of market and industry that it's in. So it's all going to be on a case-by-case basis, unfortunately. So if you find a really good example, let's play with it and see if we can turn it into a case study. But otherwise, I can only speak in theoretical terms right now, unfortunately. All right, Rick, hopefully that answered your question. Thanks for asking it, and I'll see you later. All right, bye.